Hello, I'm Joe Dillette, and I'm going to do some updates on this portable sharpening system. So I want to show you some things that I discovered, some attachments I made for it, and some of the changes I made in my sharpening methods. So one of the neat things that I've got is some new safety glasses that I just love. It's got transition lens, and the lenses are larger, and I have these rubber end pieces that go on. You can buy these online, and I like them very much. They are very lightweight. I can wear these glasses all day here, and they're a good safety glass. They are good protection for the eyes because they have good coverage and the side shields. Another change to my system is for all the steel that I've been buffing. I've been using the aluminum oxide buffing compound. It's about a 1/2 micron buffing compound. And I use that on the strop for the leather or the wooden wheels, the MDF wheels that I make. I've been putting this on. But I've been getting into the harder metals like the tungsten carbide. And the aluminum oxide does not touch the tungsten carbide. So I've been buying this diamond. It's an industrial diamond compound. It's about the consistency of Vaseline. It's kind of greasy, but it goes on the strop very nice. I've been using this on my strops and still putting the aluminum oxide on, but it now buffs the tungsten carbide as well as the high carbon steels. That I really found is nice. I really like this. An ounce is going to last a very long time. I've been using this quite a while, and it is only like $14 for an ounce. This is a 1 micron. It comes in larger and smaller particles. So another thing I've been doing is I used to break the burr off on the knives and everything with a piece of metal. I just go on both sides, fatigue that burr till it fell off. But now I've been using just a plain hunk of wood. This is a hunk of walnut, but any piece of wood will work. And I just been rubbing it the same way as I would use the metal. But the reason why the wood is good, because now I can go right on that cutting edge. If I was using metal to do this, I would be dulling it again. But I can peel that burr off faster. So I get the thing flexed, and then I peel that burr off. So this using wood saves me a little bit more time. So I wanted to cover those things. And now I want to do for the portable sharpening system where I used a drill. I want to show you the different attachments that I'm using on that. I made some very nice attachments that are very simple to make, inexpensive. If you've watched the previous video on this portable sharpening system, then you're familiar with how it clamps. I have these holes here so I can pick and move this around, but it probably doesn't need to clamp, but for safety's sake, I'm using the clamp on it so it won't move around on me. I would hate to have it fall off if I've got this grinder running. So you're familiar with the grinding system, and I'm running it always at a low speed. And so I can use the sides of the wheel, and I use the side of the wheel quite a bit. So if you're running at high speed, these wheels are for the 6-inch bench grinders, and you really shouldn't be using the side of the wheel because it can take that same force as it can here at that high RPM. But at the low RPM, then you can use the side of the wheel. So one of the attachments that I think you're already familiar with is the bar attachment that sticks out. So what this is just 2 boards that are screwed together. I have a long threaded rod that I bent at a right angle, and I have a nut here. So this is about 3 inches long, and I take the nut all the way to the end so this angle can stick out quite a ways, and then I can put it in any hole on the door to adjust the height of this. And I tighten that up. And it's a pretty stable. Now, from the first video, you know that all these attachments plus the drill fit inside the box, and that still does. So when this goes on, this is the attachment that goes here, and when you're grinding a chisel or something, then you set the angle, and we'll get into more on that. But this pocket on here, you can pivot it in there to do round chisels in that. And there are 2 grooves on this where I do the planer, and you'll see a video where I've done the planer on it. I just use a simple clamp to clamp it down. So once I've taken the chisel and I've set the angle that I want to sharpen it at, then I just clamp it in place. And I have that on another video. So since then, what I've been doing is I made a couple more attachments for it. And there was a value in having a flat table under here, so I could do some surface grinding. And I just use a couple clamps. So to mount the flat table, I am just clamping it like this. Before I tighten that clamp down, I need to set the table so it's at a 90-degree angle with the wheel. The drill is not level. It's tilted down. So I'll take this clamp off. I'm going to use this block as my right angle gauge. And I see it's at a 90-degree angle. Put it around to this side because I use both sides of the wheel. That's at a 90-degree angle. So now I can clamp it in place. So that's a cheap way, and it's a pretty stable table. A cheap way to get a nice table that's at a right angle to this wheel. And what I use that for is for grinding knives. I bought a knife on eBay that is $5. I don't know where it's made. There's no markings on it, no country where it comes from. Probably it came from China, I don't know. But I wanted to test it out to see if the steel was any good, and the steel is pretty good. So I'm quite happy with the knife. So, but you could see how it come. That bevel is just goes for a short distance. And you want to drop that bevel down for a knife so you don't have much drag at all. So a knife is sharpened from both sides and about a 10-degree angle on a side. So you're going to have a 20-degree included angle on that knife. So this bevel, well, I also had to take the handle and grind this. I just ground off this big area here. I narrowed the sides down and I blended that side down. It didn't hurt the handle strength at all, but it gave me more versatility to maneuver my knife around in a carving. So the idea was to to grind down the sides of the knife. And to do that, I'm going to use this block. This block is going to clamp the knife in. This is just a hunk of metal with a bolt through it. And it clamps the blade perpendicular with the flat base. This base here, the blade is perpendicular. and holds it pretty good. So by this table being square, I can come in on both sides and grind on both sides of the wheel. So now to get the angle is I've got a hunk of wood that's a taper, and I can taper it so I can tip that blade this way and I can tip it this way. But instead of the 10-degree angle, I did it at a 7-degree angle. And how I created this at a 7-degree angle is I took my protractor and just drew a line on a piece of wood, and when I went to the bandsaw and I sawed it, and I just sanded it after I sawed it, and that was close enough. So the reason why I'm using 7 degrees, because that is a angle that really works out well, because to finish off the 10 degrees on either side, I am just buffing it, just at that edge. So you get a real nice 7-degree taper, and then that just the sharpening on the end of the blade. So I have wheels spinning this way because I want the chips going that way, and if anything happens, I want it to fly away from me. So reverse the direction. I slow it down, then I just hold this whole assembly and I slide it back and forth. And it doesn't make any difference where I'm starting. I'll move my hand so you can see it. You can see the blade. Then to do the other side, I pivot this wedge around. And that's a very repeatable angle. It looks like it's almost polished around there. And this is a medium grit wheel that I just dressed down. So it's biting pretty nice, but I'm getting a real nice finish on that. So then when I do that and I raise a little burr, then all I need to do is just go and buff it. So I am a little bit lower than the 10-degree, but it's a knife that will hold up very well for carving. The edge holds very good. So I really like the steel on this. I can take nice big bites. This is in grain that I'm cutting, and that blade holds up very well. So I'm happy with the knife. So that's one of the reasons for the table. There's other things that you can do here on this table. Another attachment that I have is an angle fixture. So this is an angle gauge. And the carving tools that we're doing is at about a 22-degree angle. This is adjustable from 0 all the way up to whatever angle you want. I have a mark right here, 22 degrees. And what I'm doing is just using that as a reference. So when I come in, because that's the angle that I carve at. All right, so I still want the wheel to be going in the downward direction because I want the sparks to be going down. Speed it up just a little bit. But with this gauge here, it gives me a nice reference point when I come in. So I'm matching that angle as I come in the grind. Now, if I had a #1 chisel that sharpened from both sides, and I want a 7-degree, want a 10-degree angle on either side, then what I do is I change this to 10 degrees, and I can come in here now, and I can match that with each side of the chisel. You can pull this thing forward, it's loose, you can do whatever you want with it right there, and match that 10 degrees for both sides. And so this is a nice handy fixture. Use it on either side like that. You can stand over here if you're having trouble seeing it from there and match that angle up. So you can see that coming down, and you can see how easy it is to match the same angle from this vantage point. So that's another fixture that I made for it. So those are the updates to my portable sharpening system. Thank you.